Hello, today we are going to talk about triggers. Let's start with the fact that in our software it's called trigger, but these blocks are also known as bistable blocks. These are the RS and SR elements. They are used to separate the logic of turning a device on from the logic of turning it off. These blocks have two inputs, set and reset. The first one generates a command to turn on the output, and the second one turns it off. And the output operates according to the last command given. The simplest example is a motor and two buttons, start and stop. Press the start button. The motor starts and works even if we release the start button. And it will work until we press the stop button. So why are there two of these blocks? Actually, it's quite simple. They work a bit differently in the situation with simultaneous on and off commands. That is, when you press both buttons at once, the RS block will turn the output off, while the SR block will turn it on. The priority is as per the letter that comes first in the block's name. Personally, I would choose based on the scenario. If during an emergency you need to turn off some mechanism, then it's better to take the RS block. And if, on the contrary, you need to turn it on, then accordingly SR. Another element from the library is the D trigger. It allows synchronization pulses at the D input with the clock frequency at the C input. And here, in general, everything is quite simple. The output turns on if, at the moment of the clock frequency from transition, the input was on. It turns off if, at the moment of the clock frequency from transition, the input was off. And to boot, there's an integrated RS trigger with a priority on turning off, if you need to urgently turn on or off the output. Two elements that are usually called edge detectors, not triggers, have settled in the trigger section. These are R trigger and F trigger. R trigger is the rising edge detector and F trigger is the falling edge detector. Because R stands for rising, meaning the rising edge, and F stands for falling, meaning the falling edge. If the previous blocks allowed making some long duration pulse from short signals, here, on contrary, we make short signals from long pulses. R trigger when its input switches from 0 to 1, that is, when turning on, or when a rising edge appears on this input, the output will turn on for one cycle of the mini PLC's operation, after which this output will turn off and will turn on again only when a new rising edge appears on the input. F trigger works just the same, only the pulse will be formed by the falling edge, or by turning off the input. These elements are needed to form commands for further control upon detecting the turning on or off any elements. For example, your pump turned off, and you need to turn on an emergency light for 3 seconds afterward. Take the F trigger falling edge detector. Insert it between the pump and the timer that starts the light, and everything works as it should. In the next video, we will finally talk about simulation mode. Don't forget to leave comments under our videos and subscribe to our channel. Bye everyone.